Oh boy. Oh lordy, that's not good. Oh boy. So, I'm not one to follow trends or even really talk about current events, but if you've been subbed for a while, you know that I'm pretty interested in dating sims, and even if you don't know me, you could probably guess just by looking at me. So there's this dating sim called Asagao Academy Normal Boots Club. It features the content creators from Normal Boots, a small network of internet video guys, and it's really awkward. Especially so now because of some recent events. So, perfect time to talk about it. So, for some history, at some point in 2014, this project sprang up. I don't know how it got started or why, but by October, there was a Kickstarter for it, which raised $26,000. Jesus. The game was being made by Kara Hillstock under the name Illiseed. The idea was that it would be a sort of parody dating sim set in a Japanese high school, but like I said earlier, featuring the guys from Normal Boots. And they had permission from them and everything. The guys did voice acting for the game. It was all looking good. And honestly, I was pretty excited when I heard about it. I guess I was naive, and this was before everyone on the internet turned out to be assholes. Well, except him. Thanks for knowing how to keep your mouth shut, James. Anyway, I was excited, because I'm always excited for a new dating sim, and hell yes I would date Paul Ritchie, are you kidding me? Please don't turn out to be a creep, Paul. And when it finally released in April of 2016, quite a bit later than its projected Valentine's Day release date, I played it just about immediately. Also, I was bummed about the late release because it meant the most exciting part of my Valentine's Day that year was live streaming Hatoful Boyfriend and getting my broken phone repaired. Either way, the game came out, it was pretty alright, I played it, the guys that were in the game played it, and it just kind of faded into obscurity after that. No harm done, right? Yeah, I guess. But there was always a problem with this game. The problem being, you should not make dating sims based on real people. Because real people can turn out to be fucking terrible. Even if the creators didn't consider that at first, they would have realized it by the time Gerard, the completionist, and Greg, a friend of his that featured in most of his videos, had a massive falling out and Greg left the channel. You may not know this now, but Greg was a big part of the completionist reviews and he was going to be in the game. But after he and Gerard split, they decided to scrap him. Which was a doubly good decision since Gerard deleted every single review Greg was in at his request a couple years later. It was really dramatic and it made me sad to see things turn out like that. And after all that went down, if the creators realized that making a dating sim based on real people was a bad idea, it was too late. The game was already funded and in development for months at that point. But fortunately, for the game at least, the separation happened at a time when they were still able to just quietly pretend there was never any Greg and go forward with the rest of the game as planned. All good, right? Sure. If you ignore the fact that the game was bound to age terribly. To start with, every single one of these dudes was at least in their 20s when the game came out. I'm bad with guessing ages, I'm sure some of them were like 30-ish. So you take these adult men and put them in a dating sim set in high school. I mean, I guess it makes sense for the demographic because I'm sure their viewership includes a lot of teenagers. I was one of them. But it's a bit weird, right? You play as a teenager dating aged-down versions of real adults. But hey, it's all fictional. It's sort of a parody, and it's just a resemblance. Their in-game stories are made up. Should be fine, right? Well, no, because these guys aren't fictional. They're real. They exist, and they can do things that make the game really awkward just a few years down the line. Even before all this Projared shit happened, there was that controversy with JonTron that led to him leaving Normal Boots. Or he got kicked out, or whatever happened. And no matter what your thoughts on that are, the fact remains that he's stricken from the record. He's not on the site anymore. And you play Asagao Academy, and you're like, oh yeah, things used to be cool. And JonTron used to play video games. So here we are in 2019, one former Normal Boots contributor is haunting this game like the ghost of internet funny men past. We're all happily ignoring it in favor of flex tape memes. And then Projared cheated on his wife. Now, I never watched his videos, and I don't know if I'm fully caught up on all the details, but long story short, far as I can tell, he's a piece of shit who cheated, refused to admit it, and blocked his wife on Twitter. Also, he had a Tumblr page specifically for his fans to send him nudes, and sent some nudes himself. To people who happen to be underage. Does anyone else miss the days when people were just jerks and not also sex offenders? Asagao Academy is already aging like milk, and that bit of info turned it into yogurt, especially with this scene. So that's strike 2. Or 2.5 if you were one of the backers who wanted to see Greg. And it's not like you can ignore him, he's the first person you meet in the game. No matter what route you pick, he's a major character throughout. The protagonist's friend, Mai, talks at length about how much she likes him. And people on Twitter were quick to point out how the protagonist resembles the woman he cheated on his wife with. Yikes. Yeah, there's no fixing this. It could have worked, in theory, if these guys were separate from their online personas. But they're not. This guy isn't Jared whatever his last name is. He's Projared. This guy isn't John Jafari. He's JonTron. There's no separation. They aren't playing characters that you can repurpose for a dating sim. They're being themselves. I hate to bring up James Rolfe again because he does not deserve to be mentioned next to this kind of drama, but he did the right thing. The angry video game nerd is just a character he plays. In real life, he's nothing like that. But the reviewers who were inspired by him didn't do what he did. They made up new names to go by, but they're still the same person. There's no new character they're acting as. I know that because I'm one of those people. I go by Purple Maple Leaf, but I don't pretend to be someone else. You couldn't use me in a dating sim. Long story short, real people suck. Don't use them for dating sims. So, yeah, I guess we play the waiting game now. How long until another Normal Boots guy does something shitty and gets kicked out? Hell, how long until Normal Boots disbands again and this game can't be played without your soul trying to escape your body to get away from its sheer awkwardness? It's clear that something like Asagao Academy will never happen again. I guess it's just a relic from a different time. A time when we thought the people we were watching online were all cool. I remember when the biggest source of drama was the irate gamer clearly being a ripoff. It never mattered. It was all just silly internet stuff. Now it's serious, because everyone got their real-ass lives involved. Maybe that's fine when you've got 30 subs and you're posting crappy memes for your friends to see. But when you've got 1 million or so people watching, just keep your personal life out of it and play some damn games.